Hi, this is Nathan Lehman with the Ultra Running Company, and I'm here today to talk to you about a brand new shoe, the Topo Terraventure 2. So first thing, let's look at how we look at shoes at the Ultra Running Company. We look at a couple different aspects. We look at where you run and how much cushion it has and how much drop it has. So with that categorization, this is a transitionally cushioned, low drop trail shoe. So let's kind of step through that and break it down for you. The Topo Terraventure is definitely a trail shoe. This is not a mixed use shoe or anything like that. Pretty aggressive treads. Basically it has what we call a 3mm drop on it, and the drop is the difference between the amount of cushion on the forefoot of the shoe and the heel of the shoe. So in this particular case, in the heel of the Topo Terraventure 2, there's 25mm of cushion. In the forefoot, there's 22mm of cushion. So we say that has a 3mm drop on it. Generally anything between about 3 and 6mm we consider to be a low drop shoe. There are shoes with no drop at all, so basically where you're standing flat. This raises you up just a little bit on your heel and provides a little bit more cushion in the heel. So if you do strike just a little bit there, this is going to give you some extra protection. If you land on your midfoot or forefoot, the heel's not going to get in your way, so it's still going to allow you to be a really efficient runner. So kudos to it there for being a nice responsible shoe. This is not a minimally cushioned shoe where you'd feel everything on the ground. It's also not kind of your Barca Lounger where you're protected from everything. This is one of those shoes where you can tell what's going on underneath your foot. You're going to get some feedback, but you're definitely going to get some feedback, so you're not going to be completely removed from the situation. So also where you'd use that is kind of on your more technical trails when you're running comparatively shorter distances, something along those lines where your feet aren't going to get as tired. This is right in the middle of the range, basically, where trail shoes end up. So from both a drop standpoint and a cushioning standpoint, this is middle of the road. One place where it's not middle of the road is in the traction on the bottom of this shoe, and this is basically there are a couple places where they made upgrades to the Terraventure from the Terraventure 1 to the Terraventure 2. Probably the most significant change is going to be in this tread area. Still uses very large, kind of nice bulky tread lugs and spreads them out a bit. So it's going to give you good traction in mud, on dirt, on sand, anything along those lines. But it's not going to be a shoe where you can't run on kind of groomed trails, the trails where you run along and they've been kind of buffed out all around. You can still do that in this shoe. The lugs aren't so deep that it becomes awkward there or that you lose any stability. So generally speaking, nice mix of excellent traction and still runability on it. The big difference that they've made, and you can see they did a little branding on the side here. The Terraventure 1 was Topo's proprietary rubber. What they've done is they've gone to Vibram and gotten what I consider about the best trail running rubber on the market, the Mega Grip. You see the Mega Grip across a bunch of different vendors of shoes, and generally they're going to put it in their highest quality shoes, the ones that they need to be most durable. That's what they did with the Terraventure. So this shoe's gone from being an excellent all-around shoe that is durable to an exceptionally durable shoe with the addition of that Megatrack. It adds a little bit of weight to the shoe, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the one other really significant factor, and the one that I want to point out first and foremost amongst this shoe, is it's got what's called a rock plate underneath the rubber, between the rubber and the cushion rubber. A rock plate is generally a thin piece of plastic that protects you from sharp objects on the trail, rocks, roots, stumps, that sort of thing. And one of the biggest differences we've seen between the Terraventure 1 and 2 is they've slightly shifted the shape and placement of that rock guard. So it feels great. it just feels different than the Terraventure 1. So if you are a fan of the Terraventure 1, be sure you try this on before you run in it. In our opinion, the flex point has changed just ever so slightly in the shoe because of the change in that rock plate. The landing, the way that you land and then push off is going to feel slightly different. Again, not good, not bad, just different. So don't expect to go from the Terraventure 1 to the Terraventure 2 and have this be a cosmetic change. The changes between these two versions of shoes are very real. In our opinion, they're all very good, but some of those changes will give you a different experience. We talked about the cushioning a little bit as far as the amount of it. As far as the makeup of it, this is kind of a traditional EVA type foam. So it's rubber that's put out there, generally compressed into place, and it gives you a really nice soft ride where you can still feel the ground a bit. So probably don't need to belabor that point at all. It feels like a running shoe, and we think you'll like it. As we move to the upper of the shoe, what we've got is a good, solid, durable upper with breathable fabric here and some overlays that come in, and these overlays provide both protection on the trail from things that would catch you, rocks, sticks, that sort of thing, but also provide the structure to the shoe. So when you look at it, the reason that this shoe isn't going to move around on you is because of these overlays coming up. Now these are welded overlays, which means that there are no stitches going through the shoe. Generally speaking, when you have welded overlays versus stitched overlays, you're going to have less irritation on the inside. Any stitching that comes through has the potential to give you a point to rub. With an upper like this, it's going to be one piece all the way around with reinforcing overlays on it. So we think that's a good thing. Not a huge change from the original Terraventure, but something we like to point out. Again, the killer feature on any Topo is going to be the kind of aggressive, non-tapered toe box. And I just spent a lot of time trying to avoid saying foot shaped because that's Altra's trademarked language. I think I'm allowed to say it because I don't work for Topo. So I'm going to call this foot shaped. When I say foot shaped, I mean it's more rounded on the top, a little bit wider through here, and that width comes straight up and gives you more room for your toes to move around. So if you do have a foot that isn't pointed or tapered at the top, this is going to be a really comfortable shoe for you. Also fits folks with a little bit wider overall foot because they're not being squeezed up in the top. Reason that that's important is no matter what foot shape you have, you want your toes to be able to move around. That's how you build up the muscles in your feet, and so this just accommodates a wider array of runners than a shoe that comes in and tapers up through here. That's where you get your rubbing, your blisters, that sort of thing when you have a wider or rounder foot shape. One little tiny feature on this, the shoe on the side, generally speaking, when we see an overlay going the length of the shoe, sometimes you'll see it go through here and come up into what we call a heel cup. Sometimes you'll see it come all the way across here. But generally speaking, what that does is, in addition to providing structure, makes it a little bit harder for moisture to get out. So we were pleasantly surprised to see these thin cuts in the side. This allows water to evacuate out of the shoe. Some shoes will do that on the bottom, and we're not a fan of that because anytime you evacuate water out of a shoe, it also has the potential for going back in. So this is nice and high up on the shoe. You're not going to get water in your shoe just from walking through a shallow puddle. But if you do fill it up with water, if you go through a stream, if you go through a larger puddle, it's going to be able to come out here, get that large amount of water out, and then this nice vented upper will allow it to dry out quickly. So in our experience with Topo, generally one of the things we like about it is a little wider up here, a little narrower. We'd say a sporty fit in the back that really locks your heel in place. That's exactly what we find in the Terraventure. Very rarely do we find our heels slipping out of the back no matter what your foot shape. So it gives you that really nice aggressive feel here for control, and then a wide open area for your toes. So that's a general Topo trait. Definitely follows through on the Terraventure 2. One piece we can point out that is a feature, may not be one that you use, is there are small holes in the rear of the shoe designed to accommodate the proprietary Topo Gaiter. We're not huge fans of Gaiters, just mostly because they keep heat in They're another piece to remember. And proprietary gaiters are especially tough for us. The reason that we like a proprietary gaiter is because it fits with the shoe, it locks onto the shoe, and it doesn't move. The challenge is sometimes they're hard to get. Sometimes they, if something breaks and you've got to find a replacement, it takes a little while to do it. And also you can't use it with any of your other shoes. So the way they do it is it locks in here with 2 hooks, and then it locks up here on the front, right on your lace, and it does do its job of keeping material out. We're not 100% sure. A lot of companies will include that as a feature. We're not 100% sure that that's the best use of their money, but if you do want to use a gaiter, this is an excellent way to do so. Topo Terraventure 2 costs $130. That's pretty middle of the road for us for a trail shoe. It's not the least expensive we have, but it's definitely not the most expensive. And considering that it has features like the mega grip on the bottom, probably a pretty good price point for the shoe. If we were to nitpick, we'd definitely talk about the weight a little bit. This is not a light shoe. The shoe comes in, women's size 7 comes in at 8.2 ounces. Men's size 9, which is sample size, is 10.8 ounces. We're always shooting for that 10-ounce barrier. We're pretty sure that the reason for that is the additional weight of the mega grip. But when you go up to my size flipper, size 13, you're looking at over 13 ounces, and that's a decently heavy shoe. What you're getting in return is a lot of scuff guarding, a lot of durability, but it is a choice. It's probably not your fastest racer around. So keep that in mind when you're buying the shoe. There are lighter trail shoes out there. I think you'd be hard pressed to get a lighter trail shoe with as much durability and grip as the Topo Terraventure 2. So we hope that was helpful for you. If you can leave some comments for us, we will do our best to respond. Tell us what we're doing well and what you'd like to see. And we hope you'll come into our store or another store carrying the Topos and give this a shot. We find it fits pretty true to size, but people's feet are different. So the best thing you can do is go to your local running store and give it a shot. Thanks so much for watching. We can't wait to hear your comments and look forward to seeing you next time.